Good morning, everybody. Just a little introduction before we sing our opening hymn, since it might not be one that's familiar to you with its history, and I think that's always helpful to know it in a little more depth. You've heard us maybe sing this earlier this month, Shall We Gather at the River? And I want you to think and maybe feel your way into this as we sing together. I think in so many ways this song actually gets us right to the heart of Universalism. Written in 1864 by Robert Lowry in the middle of an epidemic in New York City where he was living, at a time just 5 years after this church was founded, with its still to this day radical faith assertion that each and every person is whole and holy and worthy of love and inclusion. And in the language of the times the song was written, that each and every person would be brought into the all-expansive arms of God, of the holy. So in this hymn, as you're singing along, you will hear the writer wondering who is going to get to gather there at the river that flows by the throne of God. Who will be there? Will it be everybody or not? And he answers with a resounding yes, and with the expansive we that is at the heart of our faith. The we that says each and every person will arrive there together. For some of us, you might want to imagine that river as the mighty Mississippi or the Minnehaha Creek, or maybe you want to imagine it as the flow of love or the arc of justice or a power greater than ourselves that leads us in the ways of love. Whatever way works for you, I hope you can feel this as the ever-expanding circle of inclusion it is meant to be.
Good morning, First Universalist. Please rise and body your spirit. Join us in singing our opening hymn. Shall we gather at the river, where bright angel feet are trod, with its crystal side forever, flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river, gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. One more time. Shall we gather at the river, where bright angel feet are trod, with its crystal tide forever, flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river, gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Universalist Church. My name is Jen Crow. I use she and her pronouns, and it is an absolute privilege to serve as your senior minister here. It's also an absolute joy and privilege to get to lead worship today with so many awesome people. With Isla Meisenberg and Max Rosiel, with Annika, Sophia, Adrian, Ada, Claire, Amy, Jay. Did I get everybody? Yes! Gratitude also to John and Olu, who keep our tech working so we can stay connected with each other. Grateful for the folks joining us online. It is good to be together in all the ways that we can. And a thank you to everybody who makes this moment and space possible. Ushers and greeters and artists, tenders of this building, tenders of this community. We don't get this time together without each other, with all of us doing what we can to build up this community. So thank you for taking a risk on love, a risk on connection and community each time we show up here together. And we're grateful that you're here in this place, in this faith that leans toward the Universalist understanding of love and faith that names each and every person as whole and holy and worthy, welcome and wanted, and all of us with room to grow through our whole lives. Welcome to this community of love and hope that is committed to practicing beloved community. That means creating experiences here with and for each other and for ourselves, experiences of unconditional, transformational love that is so inclusive and irresistible that it cannot help but change us as individuals and as a community. This is the kind of love we are grounded here at First Universalist Church. Now, you've heard me say already, this is an expansive we that I'm talking about here, that we have been talking about here for generations, actually. And when we practice an expansive we that includes people of different ages and gender expressions and sexual orientations, of differing abilities and disabilities, different racial identities and religious backgrounds and beliefs and experiences and more, we know that we're going to have to, at times, be awkward together. We're going to have to ask questions. We're going to have to extend grace and care and repair and be present with one another. Because in an expansive we all have different ways of doing things, different expectations and experiences and hopes and needs. And unless we ask, we're never going to get below the surface with one another in deep relationship. So, I invite us into what for some of us might feel awkward this morning and what for some of us might feel easy as pie. Welcome to Sex Ed Sunday. I'm so glad you're here today. This is one of the days of the year where we flip the script and we have the folks from our religious education program and classrooms, youth and adults, teach us here in the sanctuary a bit of what they are learning in their classrooms. It's an opportunity to welcome the leadership of our youth who are absolutely brilliant, shining stars. So, today on Sex Ed Sunday, we are going to learn a bit about Our Whole Lives sexuality education programming. You will hear us refer to that as OWL for Our Whole Lives. This is a values-based, fact-based sexuality education program. And I want you to know, just for kicks, that we have 95 children and youth from 1st to 12th grade registered in one of our many OWL class offerings. 95 kids. It's huge. We're also piloting a program that is reaching across faith traditions, offering this sexuality education not just to Unitarian Universalists in the Twin Cities, but also to Methodists and Catholics. This is an opportunity to see how far we can spread this good and important work together. So this is yes, I am with you, Raylan. Partly because, as you know, I think every time we are able to change one heart, one mind, one life for the better, it sets out ripples on the water in ways we have no idea of how that will take shape. But just to get a sense of maybe where some of those ripples are in this room, I want to take a moment to recognize folks who have participated in or cared for somebody who has or led some of our OWL programming. So I'm going to ask you, if I name you, to raise your hand and keep it up till I'm done naming all the people, okay? So, are you somebody who is currently an OWL facilitator? Awesome. Keep your hands up. Are you someone who has been an OWL facilitator in the past? Are you somebody who has participated in OWL? Are you a caregiver of somebody who has participated in OWL? Look at all those stones out there in the pond. Thank you, you all. Thank you for the change you are making in the world. And now, even better than hearing it from me, let's hear it from one of our youth.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Isla Meisenberg. I use they, them pronouns. I'm 17 years old, and I'm a senior in high school. And along with that, I've been going to this church since I was born, and even before I was born, in the womb. Thank you, Mother. I was asked by Claire if I wanted to come and talk today, and of course I said yes. She wanted me to talk about one of my favorite things, consent. Oh yeah. Now, what is consent? Consent is defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary as compliance in or approval of what is done or proposed by another, and or to give assent or approval. In OWL, we use the metaphor fries to define and explain what consent is. It's very easy and simple, and so I, today, will be teaching it to you. FRIES stands for freely given, giving your consent without being pressured or having to be convinced by another person. Reversible, because consent can be withdrawn at any point in time whenever you are with someone. Informed, because all parties involved should know what they are agreeing to. Enthusiastic, which is my personal favorite, because enthusiastic consent is not only saying yes, it's saying yes, and making sure that everyone else is excited or as excited as you are. And lastly, specific, because just because you said yes to something does not mean you said yes to something else. Another good example that people use, and one of the ways that I learned, is to think about consent like tea, like the tea you drink, or you could think of it as coffee, or water, or even an apple. The important part is that you're asking this person if they want tea. And if they don't want tea, don't make them tea, because they don't want it. If you ask somebody if they want tea, and they say, well, I don't know, but I don't think I want tea right now, don't make them tea. But if you ask somebody if they want tea, and they're like, yes, I would love some tea, and you are also like, yes, I would love some tea, then you can make them some tea. And the most important thing to remember is an unconscious person does not want tea, so do not make them tea. Consent is not just for certain situations, it's for our whole lives. Funny joke, funny joke. No matter where you are, where you come from, where you are going, how you have been raised, consent is always there. In simple things like giving your friend a hug when they're sad, you still want to ask them what they want and how you can support them in that situation. Along with in a long-term relationship, you still want to ask somebody if you can kiss them because maybe that's not what they want right now. In church, and especially in OWL, we talk about respecting one another, letting people be their own person. We talk about being generous and showing love towards others. And throughout my years when I was in church, we were always talking about consent. Whether I was in middle school learning about growing bodies, or I was sitting with my friends learning about how to stay safe and teach others about healthy relationships, we always talked about consent. Because being able to say that you hold the you values dear to you is being able to speak up for yourself. It requires me and all of us to understand consent and participate in informed consent throughout our lives. So much of my knowledge has come from the community that church has created. It has come from being taught by people with many different life experiences, and so much of my knowledge has come from OWL. OWL has been such a big part of my life, and it is one of the reasons I am who I am today. I'm an active part of my school community. I run the sex ed locker at my school. I work with people of all different ages through my work, through my community. I'm an active part of my church community, and I have been able to find an amazing opportunity to work with other young people through Planned Parenthood. OWL is one of the reasons I care so much about the people around me, and is one of the biggest reasons why in the upcoming year, as a senior, I'll be going to get my degree in something related to international social work, so that someday I can come back here and teach the next generation about OWL. Thank you.
I want to invite us in whatever way works for you, for a moment of deeper breath. Maybe it's a moment of remembering our deep connection to one another here, but also past and present and future. I invite you in, if you'd like, to 3 intentional breaths. From this space of calm and connection, we remember the hopes and the promises that keep us together. And I invite you to say with me, if you'd like, the words for the lighting of the chalice. Love is the spirit of this church. And service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Hello everyone. My name is Max, and today I will be reading a children's book by the name of Yes, No. I would like to invite children, youth, and anyone else who would like to come be at front, up close and personal. Yeah. All right. Yes, no. A first conversation about consent. This is my body. Oh, for those of you down here, these slides are good visuals. This is my body. It belongs to me. I am learning all the names of my body parts. Belly button, vulva, butt, penis, elbows, nipples. I am the boss of my body. I like doing things that feel good. It doesn't always feel like I'm the boss of my body. My grown-ups make some choices for me because it's their job to keep me safe and healthy. Sometimes I don't like the choices that grown-ups make for me, and I feel upset. It feels better when grown-ups ask first, or let me know what's happening and why. We're all putting on our helmets to keep us safe. Everyone is different. Some people love hugs. Some people would rather blow a kiss. Some people love to get dressed. Others would rather be naked. People like and want different things at different times. Do you like hugs? The only way to know what someone wants or likes to do is to ask. Asking if something is okay with someone is called asking for their consent. Took a monster? No. When we ask someone for consent, they might say, yes, or no. Can I pick you up? Yes. If someone says yes, it means you have their consent. Let's all say yes on 3, 2, 1. Yes. But if they don't say yes, the answer is, let's all say it on 3, 2, 1. No. When someone says or shows no, it's our job to listen and stop right away. Here are some ways that people say no. Stop. Not really. Maybe later. I don't know. Maybe. I don't like that. Not today. Or I'm not sure. There are lots of ways that people show no too. A no can be a sound, Wah! It can even be silent. Sometimes a yes can change into a no. Everyone is allowed to change their mind. It's okay if you hurt someone's feelings when you say no. What you want from your own body matters. And it's okay if your feelings get hurt when someone says no to you. What they want for their own body matters too. Sometimes it's hard to say or show no. Grown-ups can help you say no or help you make a different choice. Would you rather blow a kiss, a hug, or a high five? We all have the right to make choices about our bodies. Whether the answer is no or yes, consent feels so good. Thank you.
It's so good to be all together and learning together, and we also make spaces that are just right for the different communities that are among us here. We're growing in our spiritual lives when we're in different spaces and different groups, and now is that time when our children and youth and all of their amazing teachers and guides begin to make their way into the spaces that are made ready just for them. They take the light of the chalice with them and follow the flags as they make their way, and we sing them on their way.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
I invite you to join with me now in a time of meditation, reflection, and prayer. This is a time and space you can enter into in any of the ways that feel right to you. For me, I settle myself in. I notice my feet on the floor. I take a moment to roll my shoulders back and down, maybe to soften my gaze or close my eyes. An opportunity to let my breath move at a slower, more intentional pace as I remember my connection with each and all of you and with all of life. May our hearts and spirits be open today. May we know gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of life, for the opportunity to be together in community wherever we are. For this community we create together with our hopes and dreams, our expressions of care and love, our labor, our resources, our hopes. May we gather with thanks for our children and youth, for all who care for them and guide them, and for all the ways they guide us. and care for us. May we know the strength that flows generation to generation through the river and the rain and the snow that melts, through the earth that continues to turn, the cycle of the seasons that holds us even when we feel untethered. May our hearts be open. May we know care and connection in the ways that we want and need it. May we ask for it, and may our requests be honored. Into our circle of care today, we bring all those in our lives and in our larger communities who might be struggling or celebrating, those we care for, those we do not yet know, but we imagine too. We expand our circle to include all those who continue to be impacted by the cruelty of the unjust immigration system we live within. We expand our circle of care to include those impacted by war and violence in all of its forms. And we hope and pray and work for a turning of the heart in our leaders, in ourselves, in our actions, that might create the world of thriving and justice we long for. And our prayers reach out to Kim Doyle and Becca Padilla. Kim has been caring for her mother in Iowa, and her mom recently passed. Our thoughts and prayers are with Kim, with her mother Dolores, and her whole family. Dolores was a polio survivor. She was well loved, and we're grateful she is not in pain. And our prayers reach out to Becca as well, who has been caring for her father in the hospital in Ecuador. We're grateful for his moves towards health and her safety. Our prayers and thoughts reach out as well to surround the family and friends of Jean Campbell, mother of Charmaine Campbell Patton, mother-in-law to Jeremy Burke, grandmother to Calla and Jasper. Jean passed away on Thursday following a recent diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. She was surrounded by the love of her family during her final moments. We hear the echo, the resonance of Minister Emeritus Reverend John Cummins, who wrote that there is but one place where time and death have no dominion, and that place is love. May that love remain. We expand our circle out to all those who are celebrating today, to those who are finding renewed joy or connection or just a little door of hope opening in themselves. May that door continue to open. May gratitude flow through us when it can. May we notice and celebrate the joy we know. Together we pray that the grip of addiction might be loosened, that the weight of oppression might be lightened, that the truth might be told, that joy might break through, and that love might make every suffering bearable and every joy expand. May it be so. Amen.
All the rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shade of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Friends, we have so much to celebrate today. So much to be grateful for. You probably know, if you've been here over the course of the last month or so, that we have been in the midst of our annual pledge drive, which means we are trying to figure out together what we can raise in income for the next fiscal year to help support the work and the dreams and the mission of this church. You all have been in it with us together, and we have heard so many powerful stories about why church matters. We asked you to name your dreams and hopes for this church, and we asked you to help meet an ambitious pledge goal of $1.5 million. This is truly shared ministry, when we hope and dream together, and then when we bring our resources together to make those hopes and dreams real. So there we go. Like I said, we put together this ambitious pledge goal of $1.5 million. And I want to tell you where we are today as we start wrapping up this campaign. We currently have pledged $1,373,000. Holy cow. This is impressive work. And we have a little ways to go still, which I know we're going to reach. I honestly can't remember the last time we were this far along at this time. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. And I want to name something that is such a source of hope and possibility for me in this. Do you know how many new givers we have? Folks who are brand new, who want to be a part of making this happen? 63. 63 people, right? Who are giving for the first time, who are saying, I'm all in this way with you in this community. Such a gift. So we are beyond grateful to each and every one of you who has already made your commitment for the year ahead, who says, yes, I'm in, I'm sharing my resources to be a part of this dream. And I want you to see a little bit about what some of those dreams have been. So Olu, there we go. So this is a word cloud made out of all the things you've said as you've returned your pledge cards and made your pledges online, and not only told us about how much you might be able to give financially, but what you hope for here in our community. You'll see some pretty strong presences of a few of those. Community, paying off the mortgage, which is actually a construction loan, more music, all kinds of things up there. I can't see it from here, but I have read each and every one of those hopes and dreams that have come in, and I share them with you. So here's the invitation. Help us finish strong. If you haven't already made your commitment for next year, please do so we can cross the finish line. If you're able to and would like to, please make an additional one-time gift to help us get over that goal. And also join us in gratitude. Gratitude for each and every person who's made a gift or let us know or contributed in another way. Gratitude to our stewardship team, to Lynn and Ginny, to Emily and Unique and Velma. This is shared ministry that we are about together. And join us for some cake after the service downstairs, because we like to celebrate. And yet again, someone who can say it better than me, I turn the pulpit over to our youth.
Hi everyone, I'm Ada Hendrickson. I use any pronouns, and I'm one of the youth representatives on the church board. I joined the church in 2020 when I was 8. As you all know, the world basically shut down a few months later. So I never really got the chance to come here regularly. When I was in 8th grade, my parents signed me up for OWL, which is the whole reason we came to the church in the first place. I was pretty nervous about doing a class like that with people I barely knew, so I went to one of the community dinners and the youth group afterwards. I met so many amazing people, and little did I know, a few years later they would be some of my closest friends. This church has taught me so much about myself. I volunteered for childcare for the first time here, something I'm still doing now. I had my first job here, working at the summer camp. The high school retreat at the start of the year was one of the best weekends I've had. This church has given me so many opportunities for leadership and advocacy, and I'm so grateful for that. I want everybody to be able to have these experiences. This church does so much good for the community, and I hope we can continue to grow and improve. Something I said to someone this week when explaining why my Sundays were busy was, I go to church more than anyone in my family. I genuinely love that place. To anybody who has been able to pledge this year, thank you so much for helping keep this place going. Thank you.
Thank you, Ada. This theme of gratitude, I'm just going to continue it a little bit longer. And lest you think, oh, so many things to say thank you for, this is so long and boring, let me just say, poor us, to have so many things to be grateful for. So a couple things I want to lift up today. One is that after, I kid you not, 8 years of hoping and trying, we have a washer dryer installed at the church. Now, and I want to shout out Clint and Carrie, who are members of the church who did the labor that made this possible. This has been something we have been trying for and working toward so that folks who might be guests with us in our building might be able to have all of their needs met here. We know how important that is. That's right. So check it out down in the kitchen. Stop by. It's beautiful. I tell you, it makes me happy every time I pass by it. This is a gift out of our Sanctuary and Resistance Fund. Our Sanctuary and Resistance Fund has been supporting folks who are in sanctuary, wherever that is, folks who might be needing support with rent or groceries or legal support, who have been most impacted by Operation Metro Surge, among other things. And I wanted to let you know, too, that from January through so far in March, we have received over 560 gifts to the Sanctuary and Resistance Fund from literally all over the world. These gifts, we were just writing some thank you notes downstairs. I had notes to send out to Honolulu, Colorado, Maryland. Oh, I did 5, and there are 560 to write. So here's the thing. I invite you in. I invite you in to this work, this beautiful spiritual work of gratitude. There's a table set up downstairs in the social hall for you to stop by. You can write a couple of thank you notes to the folks who have made these donations to our Sanctuary and Resistance Fund that we've been able to turn into mutual aid. And you can say thank you for helping us hold it together. So what I'm saying is, after church today, if you're here in person, get some cake, write some thank you notes, maybe make a sign for the No Kings rally next week. We can do it all together. Now, every time that we gather on a Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices that make our faith come alive in the world. We give and receive and grow together. We share our resources, trusting that when we share what we have, we can all have what we need. That is what we're about here. That is a statement of faith. And so I remind us all, if this is a time in your life when you might need a listening ear or some practical support, financial or otherwise, please talk with one of the ministers. We are here for each other. And if this is a time when you have resources to share, this morning we'll be sharing our offering with gender justice. The mission of gender justice is to advance gender equity through the law. Founded in Minnesota, Gender Justice has expanded their work across the upper Midwest to be responsive to the needs they are seeing in their communities and in their clients' cases. They believe it is never the wrong time to fight for people's rights. The folks at Gender Justice envision a world where everyone, people of all genders and gender expressions and sexual orientations, can thrive. They believe that together we can dismantle the legal and structural and cultural barriers that contribute to gender inequity. I invite you this morning to give generously if you are able.
A kiss is not a contract, but it's very nice. It's very nice. Just because you've been exploring my mouth doesn't mean you get to take an exposition further south, yeah. A kiss is not a contract, but it's very nice. It's very, very nice. Just because we've been playing tonsil hockey doesn't mean you get to score the goal that's in my jockeys. Just because I'm in a two-man legacy band doesn't mean it's all about poontang. I can't go around loving everyone. I just wouldn't get anything done. You could take me out to dinner, that would be quite nice. You could buy me a burrito or some beans and rice. That won't get you into pants paradise. They call it a fly because it takes you up to heaven. Ho, ho, ho. A kiss is not a contract, but it's very nice. It's very nice. Only in a one-man band, baby, a pretty baby. It doesn't mean we don't need consent, a baby, pretty baby. Yeah.
My name is Adrian Meisenberg, and I am here to teach you a game about consent. You are going to play a game about touching, and you're going to see the difference between touching your own body and touching someone else's body. The children can remain seated for the first part of the game, and I would like you to say, I'm going to call out two body parts. You can see if you can touch the two body parts together on your body. Everyone's body is different. So you might be able to do some of these things and not do other things, and that's fine. Say hand to knee and model putting your own hand to your head. On your head. Say knee to knee and model touching your knee to your knees to each other. Continue with different combinations, including ones that may challenge them to stretch in different directions, such as head to foot, shoulder to knee to etc. If you are comfortable, you can do this with a partner. You can move out and meet other people and do this game. The pairs can be child with child, adult with an adult, or an adult with a child. Pair up with You can do it now. Sorry.
Hey, Sophia, can I touch my elbow to your elbow?
Yeah.
Yay!
You guys want to touch elbows?
I would love to touch elbows.
Would you like to touch elbows? Okay.
Annika, do you want a hug?
I do want to hug Sophia.
Okay.
Yay. Hey, Sophia, can I touch my fist to your fist?
No.
Oh, okay, cool.
Adrian, do you want a high five?
I would love a high five.
Okay, would you like a high five?
Yes, I would love a high five.
Awesome. Adrian, you want
Can I hit you?
No.
Oh my god. Okay.
Can I tie your shoes together?
No, that's really rude.
Can we tie each other's shoes together?
I think that'd be difficult.
I don't think so.
I think it would be.
sides of our feet?
Well, they're covering us.
I feel like it's really good race.
Okay. Can I bring you out there? Yes.
What's your sister's name?
trying this out.
Okay.
Julia.
Okay. Everyone. Let's bring back, Mom, yes. Now that you have done that, you have showed that we can ask for someone's consent, and they can say yes or no, or give a different way to do that. Someone could say, oh, can I give you a high five? And they're like, no, thank you. And you could say, oh, let's just touch elbows, and that would be fine. And that has showed that we can do this, so, yeah. And also, thank you for letting me show you this game. I hope you play it with your friends, and always ask for consent, no matter what. Thank you.
This is not working.
Good morning. My name is Claire Trolley. I use she and her pronouns, and I am the OWL program coordinator here at First Universalist Church. Today, as you may have surmised from our youth, we're discussing consent, boundaries, and bodily autonomy. This can be a hard topic for some. It can bring up uncomfortable feelings. Please take care of yourself. If you need to get up and stretch or step outside of the sanctuary for a few minutes, please do so. We want you to take care of your body and your soul, however that may look or feel for you. We have heard about how our children and teens learn and interact with consent. We were able to practice asking and receiving consent just like they do in first grade OWL. Now comes the hard part, the time when consent is violated or boundaries are ignored. Consent violations happen all of the time in our society. Sometimes they're minor, akin to paper cuts. Sometimes they're bigger, like a wound requiring stitches. Examples might be requiring kids to hug extended family members, or commenting on pregnant people's bodies, or touching someone's hair who has a different texture than your own. These are prevalent and harmful. In the United States, we have a history of considering bodies as property. Slavery being the obvious example, but it continues today when some people believe they have the right to touch other bodies without first asking. Even when not done with sexual intent, it is still harmful. For example, when people touch Black women's hair without first receiving consent. We here in Minneapolis have felt these violations of consent and bodily autonomy while being an occupied city by federal agents. Some of us have physically had our bodies harmed by them. Some of us have been mentally or emotionally harmed as we have seen, heard, or felt others being physically harmed by them. All of us have been spiritually harmed deep in our souls by the actions of an occupying force. For some, this has been a wake-up call. Perhaps, given our identities, this is the first time we have encountered the unwanted touch or harm to bodies. For others, this is all too familiar because of how one's body presents to others. Bodies that present as femme or non-binary, bodies whose skin color is not white, bodies with hair that is textured and beautiful, bodies that hold a visible disability, bodies where queerness is loud and proud. This is a time of reflection for all of us on how we need to change our society and way of being to ensure that harm stops with us. That our tweens and our teens, that our children and our babies do not grow up to know this harm. And that takes all of us. Well, all of us and a little bit of help from Owl. So how are we going to change this, church? First, we need to know and acknowledge when harm has happened. Then we need to interrupt the harm. And then finally, we need to work on repairing the harm. So how do we first learn about consent? From our pets, of course. Pets are the best consent educators. This is something I shared in the article I wrote for The Liberal, our weekly church newsletter, earlier this week. Most pets, unless you have Dallas as a parent, cannot talk to us in a language that we understand. However, they are excellent at teaching us when touch and attention is welcome and when it is not. Many people can recognize and respect when an animal backs away or lowers its ears or makes a noise that means, "I'm all done, please stay away." However, as people, we seem not to be able as readily to recognize and respect when it comes to our fellow humans. This is further complicated by the many different communication styles and body language and gender expectations and cultural differences we communicate across as people. We make assumptions without clear, direct communication, which often sets us up to cross each other's boundaries, even when we don't intend to. So, as an initial rule, if a pet would not like a touch, a human probably would also not like the touch. And how can we know if that touch would be welcome or not? We can ask, just like the youth have already shown us. Can I touch my elbow to your elbow? Wisdom is not a top-down learning model. Sometimes the best teachers are the youngest or furriest members in our family. Now, consent and body boundaries are not just physical touch. They are also comments and questions. For anyone who has been pregnant, you may have also experienced not just the touching of bellies, but the comments of how big or small your body might be. People who are not pregnant also receive these comments on body size. Kids receive these comments, especially if they are smaller or larger than the average child their age. That is not okay. It usually falls to certain bodies, kid bodies, femme, non-binary bodies, people in public roles, and puts them in a position to defend their body in a way they likely don't have control over. How tall a child is or how a pregnant person carries a pregnancy are not things somebody has control over. And even if they did have control over their body appearance, it does not make it okay to open to public consumption and debate. A good rule to follow when commenting about somebody's body is this: can the comment be addressed in 5 seconds? Food stuck in your teeth? Addressed in 2 seconds. A fly is unzipped? Can be addressed in 3 seconds. The type of somebody's hair or the color of their skin cannot be addressed in 5 seconds. You may think that you're being helpful or kind by pointing something out, you're not. Some bodies have a history of experiencing a loss of bodily autonomy and a history of receiving boundary violations. Individuals who embrace one or more marginalized identities are all too familiar with this. Disability, race, gender, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, and more. The maternal mortality rates for pregnant people of color is statistical proof of these bodily violations. As of 2023, Black bodies have a 3 times higher mortality rate for pregnancy-related deaths than white bodies in the US. When the medical profession does not believe fembodies and believes BIPOC fembodies even less, then people like Serena Williams almost die from labor complications rather than receiving immediate and careful treatment. When you cannot get the help you need for your body, when people do not believe you when you tell them what is going on in your body, these are clear assaults on bodily autonomy. The acts of violence against trans, non-binary, and gender-expansive beloveds are statistical proof of these bodily violations. In 2024, 46% of trans and non-binary youth in the US seriously considered suicide. Reasons given include unsupportive home or community or school, harmful state and national laws, and bullying. All are a direct result of people not believing them, not honoring them, when they tell us what is happening and true in their bodies. These are assaults on their bodily autonomy. So how do we interrupt these violations? We use our privileges, our race, our class, our gender, orientation, or our ability to say or do something. If you're not sure how to interrupt, getting curious is a great start. You can casually ask, "What did you mean by that statement?" And if they can't answer or claim it's a joke, that's usually a big red flag, showing it's not actually a joke, but using power to harm and attempting to hide it through humor. If you are unable to interrupt due to your own or another's safety, or if you learn of the harm after the fact, you can still help and correct in the form of repair. One of the hardest lessons to learn as a human is to be humble. When you are seeking repair, you need to dig deep and be as humble as possible, because this isn't about you, even if it feels personal. This is about somebody else's bodily autonomy and their boundaries. We don't use the phrases, "I'm sorry if," or "I'm sorry but." There are no qualifiers. If somebody shared a harm, this isn't the time for you to defend yourself. This is the time to apologize, to ask how you can help, and then actually do the action that has been requested. Later on, and specifically with the help of someone else, is when you can learn why what happened was harmful. Let me share a personal story here as an example, one of which I have received full consent to share with you all. A couple of years ago, my child, Nick, let us know that Nick does not like nor want kisses. Not a goodnight kiss, not a kiss for comfort or to feel better, no kisses. This is a boundary that my partner and I respect. This is also a boundary that sometimes I mess up with. When I do make a mistake, when I accidentally kiss Nick goodnight, Nick is excellent at reminding me that I have messed up. So, to repair, I say, Nick, I'm sorry. How can I help? Then Nick will remind me not to ever kiss Nick. I asked Nick how it feels when I do this, and Nick told me, it feels like you love me and respect my no. With this story in mind, let's consider boundaries in another way. Instead of viewing somebody saying no as rejection or reason to persuade them to change their mind, we need to reframe that response as appreciation for the person trusting us enough to tell us no. We should replace our sometimes knee-jerk reaction of defensive anger with appreciation, moving from an F you to a thank you. This is how we must be at church. We say thank you when somebody takes the risk to tell us what they need. We respect boundaries, we enthusiastically seek consent, and we honor bodily autonomy. So I welcome and invite you to mindfully engage in consent, boundaries, and autonomy awareness. It's okay if it's not perfect. No one is perfect. But we can all work together for a better tomorrow. We say here that each and every person is whole and holy, worthy, welcome, and wanted, all of us with room to grow. We strive to practice beloved community that comes out of experiences of unconditional, transformational love. Asking questions, listening carefully, respecting boundaries, engaging in consent freely and enthusiastically, given and received, and ensuring that each of us have the bodily freedom and autonomy we need to thrive. These are all things that we can learn and practice from church. Then they can be taken into the other spaces you move through, in work, in school, in home, in community spaces. And that is how change happens. May it be so, and amen.
Thanks for being in the classroom today. I feel like I, as always, have learned so much when we flip the script and bring the classroom here into the sanctuary. So huge thanks to the youth, to Claire, to all of our OWL facilitators, past and present. So much gratitude for the ways that we are, in fact, changing the world. As we get ready to leave this particular space and time, I want to remind you of a couple of things. One is that you can head downstairs if you're here in person and write a few of those thank you notes for our Sanctuary and Resistance Fund, and together we can make that personal thank you happen for each and every person. I want to remind you too that our partners, Augsburg Fairview Academy, are accepting donations for their prom. There's details in the newsletter about what exactly is needed, but please take a look and bring in the things that are requested. Reminder too that there are treats downstairs in the social hall, and I want to invite you today too to a circle of care. We are offering a few of these. We know that we are in incredibly difficult times where there are a cascading systems failure, I would say, in our world, ecological, governmental, healthcare, so many things. We're in a time when practicing things like friendship and community and imagination and tapping into the deep time of our ancestral inheritance is more important than ever. So today at 1, our Minister Emerita, Reverend Ruth McKenzie, is going to be leading one of those circles in room 201. And if you keep an eye on the newsletter, you'll see some other opportunities coming up as well. I hope you will take us up on this and be part of those circles of care. So now, one more deep breath if that is right for you. One more opportunity for gratitude, for this time together, for the risk on connection and care and love, for new learnings, for new ways of being that we get to practice here and bring out into the world. For all of this and so much more, we are grateful. Amen.
Please rise in body and spirit, and let's sing our closing hymn. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we don't live, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Go now in peace. Or stick around and watch this cute video of the song I sang earlier.
Just give me a little sugar.
Only no sugar.
You've been kissing me all night, Brett. It's been driving me crazy. You have to give me just a little something, something. It's kind of an unspoken rule.
This is not trying, but nice. Very nice. Just because you finish exploring my mouth doesn't mean you get to take an expedition to the south. Like this is not but it's very nice. It's very, very nice. Just because you've been playing top so hot doesn't mean you get to score the goal that's in my jockey.